drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? You are watching the TFG Sports Show, the best 30 minutes sports show on social media. I am your host, Kendrick Henderson. Glad you can join me this evening. Hope everyone is having a awesome and magnificent Tuesday evening. It's a kind of cool one in Texas, but it's all good. So we're going to enjoy it tonight, everybody inside. My man, Lamar Falk, what's up, my brother? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you watching. We're going to have a good 30-minute talk. We had a lot going on today, the NFL especially. So we're going to jump right into it. But before we get to all that, I just want to say, hope everybody's having a great evening. Before we get started, make sure you come in, you hit that like, you hit that share button, you comment, and make sure you share this to all your social media platforms. And I also want to give a shout out to the women today. It's International Women's Day. Hope all you women, you don't have to be international. Just if it's International Women's Day, that includes all of you. So I hope you ladies had a good day and having a good evening. Again, we had a lot going on in the NFL today. But we're going to jump into that. But I need you to come in, hit that like, hit that share, and comment button so we can chop it up. I'm going to give it to you straight with no chaser. So let's jump right to the NFL real quick. Got to get this stuff. We had a bunch of movers and shakers happening. Today was actually the deadline for teams to put the franchise tag on players. But even before we talk about that, the biggest news of the day, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos. You heard that right. Russell Wilson played 10 seasons in Seattle, went to 2 Super Bowls, won one, 9-time Pro Bowl selection, has been traded to the Broncos. The Broncos get quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, and multiple draft picks. And those draft picks are 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. That's what the Seahawks get from that's what the Seahawks get from the Broncos. Let me make sure I'm getting that right. The Seahawks get that from the Broncos. They're getting quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, and 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick, whereas the Broncos are getting quarterback Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. So I don't know who's the winner at this point, but the Seattle Seahawks definitely stacked up on a lot of picks. Quarterback Russell Wilson has been traded. There have been rumblings of him being wanting to leave Seattle for at least a season and a half. The Washington Commanders was one of the teams that was rumored to really be high on him and had offered the Seattle Seahawks a generous lot of picks. But the Denver Broncos came out of nowhere and made this happen. Again, Russell Wilson is headed to Denver. And that's going to put that AFC West division is going to be really tight now. You got a bunch of name brand quarterbacks in that division. You got Russell Wilson now with the Broncos. You got Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. You got Justin Herbert with the Chargers, and you got Derek Carr with the Raiders. So that division, the AFC West, is going to be stacked with talented quarterbacks. Again, Seattle, in return, they getting Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, and quite a few draft picks. So Seattle is basically they rebuilding. They in rebuild mode. Coach Pete Carroll's like, okay, let's get it done. So they got it done. So that was one of the big stories in the NFL. The other one, Aaron Rodgers, he said, I am coming back. According to Ian Rappaport, the deal is 4 years, $200 million, $153 million guaranteed, which would make Aaron Rodgers the highest paid player in NFL history. Now, Aaron Rodgers said, ho, wait a minute, pump your brakes. Yeah, I'm coming back. He said this on Twitter. I am coming back. He said, and I'm happy to be back in Green Bay, but the numbers that are being reported about the contract deal is inaccurate, and I haven't signed anything yet. So again, Aaron Rodgers says, yeah, pump your brakes. I'm back in Green Bay, but those numbers that have been reported aren't necessarily accurate. So again, Aaron Rodgers back in Green Bay for one more season. Now, let's talk about some of these franchise tags. Oh, let me say this about Russell Wilson. Also, he had a no-trade clause in his contract. So he had to forego that no-trade clause in his contract to make this happen. And he also has to pass a physical. So If he does that and he passes a physical, this trade will happen with the Broncos and the Seahawks. So we'll keep our eye on this. Now, franchise, we're gonna stick with the Packers. Packers did place the franchise tag on Devontae Adams today, which means that he will make the his salary for this season only will be the average salary of the highest paid players at his position, and that comes out to be $20.1 million that Devontae Adams has been franchise tagged. Now, the Packers have until July the 15th to come to terms with a long-term agreement. If they don't come to a deal by July 15th, then Devontae Adams will play under the one-year deal of $20.1 million. Now, another player that was franchise tagged, Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz. He was also franchise tagged today, and he will play under the $10.931 million one-year deal. If they don't come to a long-term deal by July 15th, that's what he will play for this season. Also, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin was franchised as well today. $19.18 million. He will play under that tag if they don't come to a long-term agreement by July 15th. The Cowboys also had to restructure some stuff. They restructured quarterback Dak Prescott and offensive lineman Zach Martin's contracts to create $22 million in cap space so they can sign some of their free agents and fit some other guys up under the cap. The cap for this year, just to let you guys know, NFL says the cap has went up roughly by $20 million. It's going to be $208.2 million that a team has to spend on players' contracts. So that has been the big NFL news today. Again, Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos. The Seattle Seahawks get a bunch of picks and a couple of players, whereas the Broncos get quarterback Russell Wilson and a fourth-round pick. And Aaron Rodgers is coming back for 1 year. Contract has been released, but Aaron Rodgers said, it's not that. That ain't actually accurate, and I haven't signed anything yet. So we'll keep our eye on that. All right, let's jump into our hot takes. Let's get to this Duke, North Carolina recap. Man, if you didn't watch that game, it's been a lot happening. It was rivalry week. It was actually Coach K's last game to coach at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And North Carolina came in there and they spoiled the party. North Carolina ended up winning that game 94-81. RJ Davis played a great game for North Carolina, had 21 points, 4 assists. Armando Bacot, who was probably going to be the ACC Player of the Year, had 23 points and 7 rebounds. And Brady Manick had 20 points and 11 rebounds. And Caleb Love had 22 points for North Carolina. They had 4 players that scored 20 points. They went into Cameron Indoor Stadium and got the win. Now, Duke, everything, Paolo Banchero had 23 points. Mark Williams had 16 points and 13 rebounds. And this game, again, this is North Carolina Duke. Hated rivalries, in-state rivals. Knew this was going to be Coach K's last game. The game was somewhat secondary because we got to talk about Mike Krzyzewski, what he's brought to the game. What's going on, Antoine? Thanks for joining and tuning in, brother. Appreciate it. Coach K coached at Duke for 42 seasons. His record is 1196 and 362. He started at Duke in 1980. Nobody knew who Duke was before he came on the scene. He put Duke on the map, and I got to give him his props. The game had 96 of his former players attended his game. Some of the names of those players, and it's quite a few. Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, Johnny Dawkins, Danny Ferry, Elton Brand, Austin Rivers, Jason Tatum, Jabari Parker, Bobby Hurley, Jay Williams, Kyrie Irving, Zion Williamson, Tommy Amaker, Luol Deng, J.J. Redick, Carlos Boozer, Brandon Ingram, Jaleel Okafor, Shane Battier, and Corey Maggette, and many, many others. He has put a lot of guys in the NBA. Again, I'm a Tar Heel guy, so I've always gave Duke the side eye. But I got to give Coach K his props, man, to be at one school for 42 seasons. Most winningest head coach in basketball history. He's won 5 NCAA titles in 91, 92, 2001, 2010, 2015. He was 3-time Naismith Coach of the Year. He has 13 ACC regular season titles, 15 ACC tournament titles. He was inducted to the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2001. He was inducted to the College Basketball Hall of Fame in 2006, and he has 3 Olympic gold medals as coach. He coached the 2008, 2012, and 2016 team. And yeah, it turned out to be a good game. It turned out to be a real good game. But we had, at the end of the game, we had some fire. I ain't gonna say fireworks. We had a little issue with some Duke assistant coaches being sore losers. Chris Carrawell didn't want to shake Hubert Davis' hand, and another one of the coaches kind of shook his hand but looked away, and that video went viral. So if you haven't checked out that video, go to TFG Sports Media, and I did something on that. Check it out. 2 Duke assistant coaches dissed Hubert Davis, didn't want to shake hands. So anyway, so yeah, so that kind of overshadowed everything. But at the end of the day, man, Coach K, got to give him much respect. To do it for 42 seasons in one school, it's, that's a feat. I don't think we'll ever see that in the college in college sports. Period. Football, basketball, you name it. I don't think we'll ever see that. And it got me thinking about the Mount Rushmore of college basketball coaches right now. Antoine, you saw that. Yeah, it was interesting. The Mount Rushmore coaches, who you think? I mean, obviously John Wooten and Mike, Coach K, those definitely 2. Now the other 2 is debatable. There's so many other great coaches out there, from Dean Smith to Denny Crum, Bobby Knight. You can say what you want. I mean, but it's other coaches. Roy Williams, John Thompson. I mean, there's so many coaches, man, on that Mount Rushmore. But I definitely know the 2 that's on there is John Wooten and Mike Krzyzewski. So again, Duke, UNC, great game. Both teams, actually Duke ended up winning the ACC regular season title, even losing. Now they both move on to the ACC tournament that start this week, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens if these 2 teams meet again. We're going to be checking to see if them coaches going to be shaking hands. So we got the NCAA tournament, getting ready, March Madness to jump off, and we got all these tournament games, conference tournament games going on this week too. So again, much salute, much respect to Coach K. It ain't over yet. They still got the tournament. So we'll see if he can get to 1,200 wins. Right now, he's stuck at 1,196. So we'll move on from that. All right, let's get to our next topic. What we talking about, Mr. Producer? WNBA star Brittany Griner is detained in Russia. Now, this story, it has picked up some legs. Just to give you a background, actually, Brittany, she's a WNBA star. She plays with the Phoenix Mercury. She's been in the league 9 seasons. She won a championship with the Phoenix Mercury in 2014 and gold medals with the U.S. team in 2016 and 2021 Olympics. And she also won a national championship with the Baylor Lady Bears. And she's originally from Houston, Texas. Well, she's been detained in Russia. They found hashish oil, which is the ingredients found in cannabis, in her luggage at an airport near Moscow. This happened a couple of weeks ago in February. I saw the video. They went through her stuff. They found vapors and all this. And she's been detained. The thing about Russia is a crime like this in Russia carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison in Russia. Now, we all know what's going on with Russia right now. Russia and Ukraine got this war going on. They've attacked Ukraine. This is a bad time for Americans to be, especially in Russia. When this conflict first jumped out, they was wanting those athletes to get out of there. Now, let me back this up too. A lot of the women professional basketball players, when they're not in season with the WNBA, they play overseas. A lot of them play in Russia. A lot of them play in Ukraine. A, they do that to stay in shape, but B, they also make more money over there than they do in the WNBA. Brittany is making roughly around $1 million a season playing in Russia. She's been playing over there for a few years. So this is a dang, bro. This is a serious situation. I read an advisor, a foreign policy advisor, said that this thing can go either 2 ways. Russia can either use her, Vladimir Putin can use her as bait to get what they want, which that's possible. And to release her, that would be the only way she can get released, or she can just roll the dice and try to use Russian lawyers because they there to see if they can cut a deal. So this is a very sticky situation, man. This is not good. We do know, as far as we know, she is safe, but she is been held. She's detained. She's been jailed. Her family members are really wanting to stay private about it, but her agent, the NBA, the WNBA have been in talks with certain people in Russia. She's supposedly, allegedly, she's safe right now, but that's all the details that they are releasing. So right now, again, this is a very serious matter. Brittany Griner has this, and this happened 3 weeks ago, and we just found this really just broke this weekend. Obviously, she's been detained for about 2 weeks, from the information that I've seen. So we can get her out of there. Like I said, I believe Vladimir Putin going to try to play hardball in this situation, due to the fact what's going on, what he's doing. He's invaded Ukraine. So we're probably going to have to get some politics involved in this. And again, a very sticky situation. My thing is, why was Brittany? Why did she have those vapors? She had that hashish in her travels anyway? Why would you pack that? I don't. That's a bad decision, especially when you're traveling through foreign land, you're in foreign countries, because their laws are totally different. It's different in every country. And for what I know, Russia has some of the harshest laws too when it comes to especially transporting. That's considered transporting illegal narcotics, so to speak. So we hope we're gonna keep our eye on the story. We're gonna keep it updated on this. Hopefully, we can get her home, get her safe. Again, because Russia doesn't have a good reputation of treating their prisoners, so to speak. So, all right, praying for Brittany. Praying we can hopefully we can get her out of there. Call Trump. Yeah. Trump is playing. Well, you know what? This is not my political show. I'm gonna leave Trump out of this. So we're gonna let Trump stay where he at. So Mar-a-Lago or wherever he is, Twan. We're gonna let him stay there. So let's move to our next topic, Mr. Producer. Is it a wrap for Cowboys wide receiver Amari Cooper in Dallas? Man, again, if you joined me earlier, I was talking about franchise tags and what teams got to do, and the new salary cap for this season is $208.2 million, which is roughly up 20 million, 25 million from last season. Cooper is in his third year of a 5-year deal that he signed. The Cowboys are already projected to be $21 million over the cap, but they did restructure some contracts that I said earlier of quarterback Dak Prescott and Zach Martin. They did that today. If Cooper is released before March the 20th, because if he's still on the roster March the 20th, he's due $22 million. But if he's released before then, his cap hit for the Cowboys for 2022 would only be $6 million. Now, Cooper's he played in 15 games last season for the Cowboys, had 68 receptions, 865 yards, 8 touchdowns. Me personally, I don't understand why would the Cowboys even think about releasing Cooper. I think that outside of that's one of Dak Prescott's safety nets, I believe. Has he put up the numbers that they want? I don't know. I don't think so. Twan says get rid of all of them old offensive linemen. That may be in the mix, Twan. I'm sure they're talking about that too. But as far as this Amari Cooper, I'm just trying to figure out why would you release him. Now, of course, his salary this season would be $22 million. Do you want to pay him that? I mean, I don't know. You got to look at your wide receiver core outside of CeeDee Lamb. You got Michael Gallup, who's a free agent. He's coming off a torn ACL. What is he going to be? He hasn't really been able to stay healthy. So I don't know. Is CeeDee Lamb ready to be your number one guy? He had quite a few drops. He's a talented guy, but you really want him to be your number one guy? Cedric Wilson, who came in and filled in for Michael Gallup when he was hurt, he's a free agent. I mean, are you going to sign him to a decent deal? Plus, you got other players, DeMarcus Lawrence, they're thinking about maybe releasing as well. So I don't see the reasoning behind cutting Amari Cooper, but a lot of reports are saying that the Cowboys are leaning to releasing him, which would save them $6 million on their cap. And that could go to, I guess, signing Randy Gregory and other guys, Leighton Vander Esch, the linebacker, a couple of their safeties, Kersey and all them. Twan says, CeeDee Lamb not ready. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a number 2 right now. So we're gonna keep our eye on this, but all signs are pointing to, all reports are saying CD Lamb not ready. I don't know if he's your number 1 guy just yet, but all reports are saying that the Cowboys are looking to release Cooper. Now, Cooper, if he is released, he's gonna be a number 1 receiver somewhere. Somebody gonna scoop him up. Going to be another Dez Bryant situation with CD Lamb. I think and that may be true. I think the only difference is I think CD Lamb doesn't have such that strong personality as Dez, where he's going to, I don't see him and some of his off the court, off the field antics. I don't see CD Lamb doing that far as Dez. Now on the field, I think he's an explosive receiver. Lawrence making $27 million. See, the Cowboys got a whole lot of decisions. They got to figure out how they're gonna keep a lot of these guys. So if you're asking me today, is Amari Cooper gonna be a Cowboy come March 20th? I would say no. Because I think the Cowboys, they've always shown that they rather keep their own guys that they draft. It's a lot easier for them to release guys that they didn't draft. That's kind of how Jerry's always operated. So he's always been more, I guess, loyal to the guys he drafted more so than the guys he bring in. Curtains for him. Lamar says curtains for him. And yeah, if you asking me right now, my thought, I'm saying 90% that he's probably gonna be released, or they go in and renegotiate that contract. That's a possibility too. But I'm like a player. Most of the time, I ain't trying to give no money back, especially when it depends on where I'm in my career. So I ain't trying to give nothing back. So again, NFL League is opened up. Franchise tags started today. The league season actually opens to do business March the 16th. So you're going to hear a lot of wheeling and dealing on that coming up for the next couple of weeks. So you guys keep it locked here. We're going to make sure we give you all the business, give you all the updates already. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Mr. Producer, most hated player person in the NFL. I ran across this interesting article on Yahoo, and it says the most hated person plus their family or whatever in NFL. I was like, why we got to be hating on people? And I was just wondering off the top of my head. That's okay. I didn't even read the article. I just read the headline. I said, okay, who did I think number 1? I ain't gonna lie. I thought number 1, who ended up being number 1, was number 1. But I'm not gonna give that away. I just want to know, my viewers, who you thought was number 1. And just give you a background. This comes from the data that got this came from a study that was by one betonline.ag. They did a study, and it had to do with finding the tweets from December, and those tweets, whoever had the most negative tweets. And that's how they came up with the most hated player or person in the NFL. Antoine, no, not T.O., but I think they talking about currently. They were talking about currently, not who played, not former, but the most hated player person in the NFL. And they got their stats from some of the most negative tweets in December about certain players. I'm gonna start with number 10. We're gonna work our way up to number 1. And no, Jerry Jones was not number 1, by the way, just to let you guys know. Number 10, Dan Snyder had 48,529 negative tweets. Number 9, Baker Mayfield had 51,285 negative tweets. Number 8, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell had 59,731 tweets. Number 7, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill had 62,379 negative tweets. Number 6, he doesn't even play, but his brother's a star quarterback. Jackson Mahomes had 71,349 tweets. Number 5, Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson, 75,210 tweets. Number 4, Odell Beckham Jr., Super Bowl winner, Rams wide receiver, 84,399 tweets. Number 3, Patriots coach Bill Belichick, 88,482 negative tweets. Number 2, Antonio Brown, 107,379 tweets. And the number 1 most hated person in the NFL is the boy from Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, number one hated player in the NFL with 266,850 negative tweets in December. Yep. What kind of list? Hey, this is a list that was done by betonline.ag. They gathered data from negative tweets in the month of December. Whoever was tweeting out whatever tweet they could see that was negativity, that's how they came up with this data. Now, again, it's just some survey. I don't really put no stock in it. I just thought that it's funny that we doing all these most hated player, person, die, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Oh, and if you got Cowboy fans want to know, Jerry Jones was only number 12. He didn't even make the top 10 in the most hated list. And Ezekiel Elliott was number 19, just for the Cowboy fans. So there you have it. Another silly list, another something to talk about. I just thought that would be interesting to talk about that. So now we down to a new segment in my show called Kendrick's Conundrums. Now, and I call it Kendrick's Conundrums because I come across silly stuff every day online. Just stuff that makes me go, If you remember watching the Arsenio Hall show, and I'm telling my age now, he always had this segment that said he had this segment that said things that make you go, And that's kind of what my new segment called is Kendrick's Conundrum. And I spelled the conundrum with a K. Kendrick Conundrums. Konundrums. I found my Kendrick Conundrum for this week. And it comes from LeBron James. I ran across the tweet of LeBron James. You probably can't really see that. But I ran across the tweet. And this is what he said. It really wasn't a tweet. It was an interview he did on his show, The Shop. And this is what he said. I just be looking for a LeBron hater. I just need one of them. It's like 20 minutes before the game starts, and I'm just looking. Like, oh, I found this MF. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be ready to go tonight. LeBron James talking about on what he sees when he sees haters and what gets him started before a game. So he said this on Interrupted. So, okay, LeBron, so you telling me that for you to be ready to play, you got to go look through the crowd and see if Joe the Plumber got to sign up or Sarcastic Susan got to sign up? Boo. You got to do that to get up to play, LeBron? You the king, brother. Come on now. You the king. You should be coming ready to play. You should be focused on your competitors, your competition. But you looking for Joe the Plumber in the stands that's hating on LeBron James. Okay. All righty. You the king. You the king, LeBron. You the king. So that has been Kendrick's Conundrum for this week. Tune in every Tuesday. I'm going to have a new one next week. I'm sure I'm going to find something silly in the Twitter universe, somewhere on the internet universe that's going to make me say, Anyway, that's been my show tonight. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank my bro, Antoine Banks. I want to thank my bro, Lamar Falk. I want to thank all that's tuned in, locked in. Make sure you lock in this show. Make sure you hit that like, share button, share it to all your social media platforms. Make sure you come here and join me every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. TFG Sports Show, the best 30-minute sports show on social media. And make sure you watch everything on TFG TV, on Facebook, and on YouTube. We got the shows every day of the week. Sunday through Friday, we got a show for you. But make sure you keep it locked here for all your sports news and entertainment every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Again, I'm your sports host, Kendrick. And until next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., you guys have a great evening. I'm out. Peace.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa. I hit record a drop, you can't ignore.